y'all, it's Care. Welcome to the start of a brand new reading vlog. Today is another very special video because I have just finished 3 of Jess's favorite books. Did my initial TBR just go out the window? Yes, it did. Were there some high highs and some low lows in this video? Of course, there definitely were. But before we get to any of that, I just have to tell you a little bit about Jess. Her channel name is Books Past Bedtime. It would really mean a lot to me if you would take a second or multiple minutes and go check out Jess's channel because I just love her so much. She's one of those people that I am just so happy that I've met. You know when you meet people in your life and you're like, wow, you're a really good person? That's how I feel about Jess. She's just like cool, she's funny, she keeps sending me Taylor Swift, what do you call them? Like the little Instagram templates for me to fill out. Jess, if you're watching this, please never stop. Last thing I'm gonna say before we just jump right in is that this is part of the little collaboration series I've been talking about so much recently. Hailey Hughes, Jess, and I have been reading each other's favorite books for the past few weeks, so I will put all of our links to our vlogs down in the description of this video. I already did read Hailey's favorite books, and if you have not seen that vlog yet, check it out. If you've not seen any of Hailey's or Jess's videos yet, check them out too. Okay, so let's start talking about some books. Jess and I sometimes have very similar reading tastes. I would say that when the two of us each read a very popular book or a mainstream book that's like being talked about all over Bookstagram and BookTube, I feel like we tend to have pretty similar thoughts, especially with either rom-coms or literary fiction. I feel like that is where we have a lot of overlap. But when we start branching out to like very specific topics in books or like subgenres, I feel like that's where we tend to have different interests. Okay, so I did the little Goodreads book comparison thing again with Jess this time, and I got a lot of questions about that last time. All you have to do is get on your laptop or a desktop computer and pull up the Goodreads website, go to the person that you want to compare books with, go to their read bookshelf, and then there should be like a little button up at the top that says compare books, and it'll tell you how many books that you have read that you have in common, and then it gives you this little percentage of how similar your reading tastes are. So this is actually very interesting because I did not think that my percentage with Jess was going to be so high, but apparently we have 78 books that we have both read in common, and of those 78 books we have an 82% similar taste. Now I can say at this point in filming the video, I have already read all of these books, and I would not say that 82% is the percentage that I would have slapped on our book relationship with each other, but I'll take it. That's a good stat. The 3 books I'm going to be talking about in this vlog are #Junkie by Cambria Hebert, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. If you watched my February TBR or honestly my January TBR, you're like, what happened to East of Eden? What happened to Rock? I can't believe I started mood reading for my own secret TBR video, but it's okay. I talked to Jess and like ran those past her. Actually, I think Pride and Prejudice might be a surprise to her, but surprise. All right, let's get it rolling because I'm excited to see what you think of what I thought of what Jess thought about these books. Okay, I don't know what's wrong with me because I totally see where Jess really loved this book, and I see where a lot of other book reviewers, like, they love this book. Let me give you a better explanation of what this book is about because it's not what I thought it was gonna be. So basically there's this guy named Trent, and he's the president of his fraternity, and he's thought that he is straight his whole life until recently he feels like he has feelings for his best friend named Drew. And Drew is this, I still don't understand what it is, but he's this car driver and they do races on the street illegally. I mean, I don't know if the races are illegal, but like when they take it out onto the roads and speed and everything, it is like it's illegal. I think they're like indie racers. What is really sad is that this part of the plot is my favorite part of the book and I still don't understand. Basically, Drew is like the very best racer and he's like this bad boy, and Trent is slowly learning that he is completely in love with Drew, and at the very beginning of the book he accidentally tells Drew kind of indirectly that. But Trent was really drunk when he said that, and so he's pretended like he doesn't remember it, and then Drew is pretending like it didn't happen, and they're both kind of living as best friends, but with this big secret between them, okay? So I really did not like it from the very beginning because there is some incessant, is that the right word? I don't know. Vomiting going on at the very beginning, and it's one thing if someone like throws up, but like Trent pukes like 8 times in the first 8 pages. I just was like, this is simply too much. Then we hop into the drag racing stuff, which I really was vibing with, but that's just like turned out to not really be that intensive a part in the story so far, at least. I hope that there's going to be something else coming back at the end. I'm over halfway through now. I don't know what percentage I'm on, and this is going to be like pretty spoiler free, but of course if you don't want even like mild spoilers of where this is going, then you can skip to the next clip. But all I'm gonna say is we've just hit the part where like their feelings are gonna be undeniable from here on out, and I did think that it was really cute and soft until it took a turn into the smuttiest scene that I have ever read in my life. Like, I thought I was prepared from like my little romance books that I read. I was not ready. I didn't understand. Y'all had been saying like, oh, Caroline, those are like fade to black scenes, and I was like, no guys, they were really steamy. Okay. I see now. Okay, I get it. And I've learned that it is actually not my thing, okay? If this had been a male-female relationship, I probably would have DNF'd, but since we have the male-male aspect going, that's my other favorite part of the book, so we are going to continue. And I mean, I'm doing it for Jess, you know, I wouldn't leave Jess hanging like that. Let's get closer. One other thing I want to air as a grievance at this point is that Hebert, is that the author, Cambria Hebert? She keeps saying that Drew, like, instead of saying Drew grunted or Drew, like, meh, did like one of those, like, meh. I don't know how you would write that, but she keeps saying he made a rude noise. He made a rude noise, and I'm listening to this one, and so the first time I heard that, I thought, I've never heard that before, that must not be what she said, so I ran it back. She continuously says, he made a rude noise. I don't know what that means. Okay, last time I did this angle in a vlog, Hailey told me I look like a little baby seal, and now I can't unsee it. Back up a little bit. Okay, so I have finished #Junkie. And my thoughts are pretty similar to whatever they were at the 50% mark, because I feel like the drag racing did not play enough of a role as like what I wanted it to play in this book. Okay, one thing that I did really like that I haven't really mentioned yet is that we had a lot of the found family elements in the drag racing fam. I don't even know how to begin to dig into it because part of me wanted a little bit more, but I know myself and I know that if we had had more of the found family, then I would have been complaining that we didn't have enough of the relationship going on between the two main characters. So like, I'm fine with the amount of found family that we had going on. I don't know, it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. I really don't have any thoughts past that. I didn't even say this. I gave this book 2 stars. I'm so sorry. Like, that's kind of what I'm feeling. At first I was thinking 2.5 stars, but I feel like I have explained enough of my thoughts for the 2-star rating to make sense at this point. I hope so. But I have hit the 50% mark of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and it is super fun, you guys. Hey, I'm editing right now, and I just realized that I never told you what A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is about because I feel like I've said it so many times that I just jumped right into the vlog. So a GTM is, I'm so sorry. It's about this girl named Pip, and she's working on this senior capstone project where she's going to explore like uses of the media in communications in solving true crime cases. I think that I'm like saying that correctly, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, that's what she's interested in exploring for her project, but she's kind of using that as a guise to actually investigate this murder suicide that happened like 4 years ago, and that involved 2 people from her school, and like it completely tore up the town. It just actually has a pretty sad start. The beginning of this book really reminds me of the setup for that NPR podcast that really took off in like 2014 called Serial, the Adnan Syed case. Like I feel like there are a lot of similarities in just exploring scapegoats and innocence and finger pointing. I just saw a lot of similarities there. But anyway, basically the book is just about her trying to solve that case and kind of getting herself into sticky situations along the way. So let's jump back into the vlog part of the video. Just wanted to go ahead and explain that really quickly before I got too far into my thoughts. She's like updating us at the end of every chapter with who she thinks her main suspects are and what like she thinks is going on, and I am really having a blast. I don't think it's going to be a 5-star read. I knew that I looked rough, like that I was gonna look really rough filming this clip, but I didn't know it was gonna be this bad. I hope you don't mind. Okay, this was really good. I just finished it this morning. I put the dust jacket back on from reading along. I'm not a psycho, I didn't read it with it on. Anyway, I think that I'm gonna give this book a very solid 4-star rating because this is probably my new favorite YA thriller I'm pretty sure that I've ever read. Before finishing this book, I think that Sadie had taken the cake for that, but I did like this book a little bit more than Sadie. But just quick side note, if you liked this book and you're looking for another book like with similar vibes and like similar darkness in themes, then check out Sadie, and then vice versa. If you liked that book, try this one. I have a lot of positive things to say about this and really not a lot of negative things at all. I can say I did not guess any of the twists in this book, and I don't want to say that I wasn't trying to, but I was not actively trying to piece everything together. I was just kind of taking in all of the clues as they came. Something that I think that I mentioned earlier that I really was a fan of is that like at the end of each chapter, Pip was writing a list of all of the suspects in the case and like bolding them if she really had them high on her list. So I knew that I kind of had those as a fallback, like if I missed a clue or like if I wasn't sure who somebody was, it was really easy to jog my memory at the end of those chapters when she was doing her little journals. So I don't want to say it was something that you can figure out, but it's not something that is completely impossible to see coming. There are going to be no spoilers in this video, but I am really pleased that how everything ended up. It's something that made sense with how the story was told. Like everything ended up making sense. Nothing came out of like complete left field. But with that being said, I was genuinely shocked with the last like 100 pages of this book. I think that I really enjoyed this reading experience. I can definitely see why Jess liked it. And also like all of my other booktube friends, I feel like everyone really loves this book. I totally get it. I see the hype. I just don't think it's as good as some of the adult thrillers and mysteries that are already close to my heart. If you can possibly get your hands on the audio version and a hard copy of the book, there really are perks to both, because I know I already talked about it, but in listening, like the phone will ring if she's calling somebody, or if she's listening to a tape recording, it sounds like they're being recorded. And then for the books, you can actually see her little handwritten notes, and it's really fun. I thought it was such a cute way to tell this story. Last thing I'm probably gonna say about it is I really appreciated how there was not like a central love story or crush going on. Like there was a little bit of tension and some banter and some flirting, but it was very, very small, like a very small detail of the story, and it did not ever take the reins of the plot. That's just a little pet peeve that I've noticed recently. It just gets on my nerves when like I can't actually read what the mystery is because these teenagers won't stop like obsessing over each other. That was not the case here. Okay, that was so fun. Jess has been trying to get me to read that for a long time now. I don't know why I've been putting it off. I think I was really, really worried that I was not going to enjoy it at all, but no, I definitely did. I really liked this book. Okay, so now on to the next. I have actually decided that I'm gonna be reading Pride and Prejudice because that was on my January TBR and I did not get to it. And I looked through Jess's Goodreads recently, and Pride and Prejudice is one of her favorite books. And it's kind of like the OG enemies to lovers story, and that is my very favorite romance trope. I have read Jane Austen before, but the only book that I've read by her is Mansfield Park. I had to read that in college, and I hated hated it. I did not like Mansfield Park. No shade to the Mansfield Park stands out there. It just was not for me. I think maybe if I'd read it on my own time, things could have been different, but you know, like when you're reading an assigned book for school and it's already like kind of difficult to get through, and then on top of it you've got these deadlines and you've got to actually understand what you're reading. No, it was not for me. But I think that I'm really gonna love Pride and Prejudice. This is the only copy of Pride and Prejudice that I have, and I don't know if you can tell, but this is a small book. Like, this is my hand and this is the book, and my hand isn't like that big. It's like a normal sized hand. Hello, I'm back. It's me from the beginning of the video. So I was planning to update you at the 50% mark of Pride and Prejudice, but I have already blown through it. All right, I'm really excited to talk about this because I feel like I have a lot of thoughts, but at the same time, I don't have as many thoughts as I thought I would have about this classic. I am gonna do like a quick little synopsis of Pride and Prejudice because I had never seen the movie. I kind of loosely knew what the book was going to be about, but when I actually started listening to it, I realized that I did not know what the story was at all. I knew like the setup, and I thought that I knew how it was gonna end, but I did not actually know anything about this book. So let me just run through it really fast. Really fast. What's this? So first of all, this book is about a lot of people. I feel like when everyone has explained this to me, they're like, ah, yes, there is Elizabeth Bennet and she has kind of a crazy family, and there's this guy named Mr. Darcy and he is very prideful, and also he's a jerk, but actually maybe he's just shy. But regardless, he just straight up does not get along with Elizabeth until maybe he does start to get along with Elizabeth. Does he fall in love with Elizabeth? Is it hate to love? Like, that's how the book is always presented to me, and yeah, like that's what the story is. But we actually do dig into some really good family dynamics. I really liked some of the relationships explored between the sisters, except Lydia. I was not here for Lydia. I couldn't. She was actually starting to get on my nerves. Also, this is gonna be like a little quick, like if you know, you know. But I have to say, not great Caroline rep in this book of like all of my namesakes. This wasn't a great look for Caroline's. The family is only sisters, so the parents have these girls, and if something were to happen to their dad, like if he dies, then at that point in time, he wouldn't be able to leave an inheritance to the women. It would have had to go to like a male person, also known as a man. So that's kind of why the mom has the fire lit under her feet to marry off her daughters. Like, I was getting annoyed with it. I think some parts that are supposed to be funny, I don't want to say they fell flat for me because obviously like this is a classic work of fiction, but I was never like laughing out loud. I was never chuckling to myself. I was never like smiling while I was listening. Here are my thoughts on that. This is just me psychoanalyzing myself for a second. I think that maybe if I had read this when I was in middle school or in high school, and kind of back when I was in the classics reading groove, then this would have felt more modern than what I was used to, and therefore I probably would have liked it even more. And then also, if I had had to read it for school, I think that my expectations would have been super low, and then my expectations would have been blown out of the water, right? But since I went into this with like a 5-star prediction in mind, when that didn't happen, I was severely disappointed. Not in the book, I was disappointed by my own expectations. And so I think I'm settling on a strong 4-star rating for Pride and Prejudice. Now, I really do want to reread a physical copy of the book in the future if I get hold of a size that is not for small elf hands, because I think there were so many characters in this book that I couldn't latch myself on to anyone who wasn't honestly Elizabeth, Mr. Darcy, or like the dad. The dad was kind of funny, but again, I was never like chuckling to myself. And I like the whole Mr. Bingley thing too. Like, I don't know. I think I could have been more attached to secondary characters if I had been reading a physical copy of the book, which that's on me. And also, that's just speculation. I don't know if that's fact, but that's kind of how I feel about it. And then this might be a stretch, but honestly, I'm really impressed that Jane Austen was writing this in her era. There was like a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff that I think I was maybe picking up on, almost like making fun of the ways of society. Like, it almost read like someone was writing in 2021 about like how ridiculous and over the top everything was. Like some of it felt like satire at times, and I don't know if that was intended. I wish I had more time to like actually read up on some of this stuff before I had to sit down and film, but I just finished the book. I've got to put this video up tomorrow actually, so when you're watching this, I was staying up late filming this the night before. Obviously my favorite part of the book was this slow burn romance. There were some really great like rejection scenes in here, which I really am a fan of. What I did not know going in is that pretty much the whole book is based on a lot of miscommunication. I knew this was gonna be like the blueprint for enemies to lovers. I did not know we were gonna go for miscommunication for like just about the entire story, but I actually really liked the payoff of it. I'm not going to give anything away just in case like you don't want to be spoiled. This is the first time that I've actually sifted through my thoughts on it, and I'm thinking back on it very fondly right now. So I think that I might read a physical copy, maybe this week. I'm really interested in the story. That's one of those things where it's like, as I'm saying it, my mind is like, perfect idea, that sounds wonderful. And then tomorrow I'm gonna be like, I just read Pride and Prejudice. I'm not gonna turn around and read it in the same week. I don't know. Long story short, the writing was a little difficult at times for me to get through. The audiobook definitely helped me out pacing wise. I did really like the characters. I preferred the characters more than the plot of this book, but I did love that slow burn. Enemies, I don't even know if I was super invested in the romance. I was really invested in them being enemies. Like I was really down for that because this is one of the rare cases where it was super believable. Anyway, I think that rounds out the vlog. Jess, you know I love you. This was so much fun. Everyone who is watching and has stuck around until the end of the video, thank you so much. I hope that you have a great rest of your week. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.